Hey party people, welcome back. Today is our next installment in the hair series, and today I'm gonna go over all kinds of short hair. Pixie cuts, pompadours, facial hair, mustaches and beards, stubble, jarhead hair, body hair, whatever, all kinds of short hair. We'll say like 4 inches and shorter. Now, I'm rubbing my hands together a lot because it is so freaking freezing in my studio today. Just ignore me, okay? I'm gonna die. It is freezing. I need like 18 space heaters, okay? Someone send me a space heater. If you are unfamiliar with my hair basics, I highly recommend that you watch that video first. I will pop a link to that and all the other videos in my hair series in the info box below. That first video will go over all the basics in depth, but real quick as a review, in no particular order. 1, hair is a shape, not 11 million strands of hair. Number 2, hair must be rendered in the direction hair is growing, going, blowing. Never ever draw a cute little bob and then render it horizontally, okay? That's not how your hair grows. Number 2, hair is darkest at the roots, at the tips, and on the insides where it is in shadow. Hair definitely has highlights because we are fashion designers and we render, shampoo contract ready hair, right? Don't hate her because she's beautiful. Can I keep that or are they going to sue me? Maybe I'll edit it out, whatever. We're going to put in highlights, and we're going to put highlights as hair curves up towards the light. And highlights go across hair, not along the hair. So if your hair is going this way, highlights are running across the hair. If that was too fast for you, go watch the other video. I really go all in depth on all those things that I just listed. For most short hairstyles, like stubble, like facial hair, like, when guys got that like close crop thing going on. Who does that a lot? Who's that white guy? Oh yeah, Jason Statham. You want to start with the skin tone. You always want to color pencil on top of marker, because if you marker on top of color pencil, the waxes, the oils, what have you from your color pencils will clog the tip of your markers. So you always want to color pencil on top. Those of you familiar with my rendering methods already know that I like to draw on the wrong side of marker paper and render on the right side. Let's give him his shadows. So let's say his light source is over here and the back of his head is in shadow, inside of his ear, under his jaw, his Adam's apple, back of his neck, under the clavicle, dark side of his arm, back here. Armpits are always dark. His pecs, in between his pecs where his sternum is, his other armpit, his abs. Students in my in real life classes know that I am always telling them to never shadow their skin tone with color pencil because it just looks like body hair. Because that is literally how I do body hair. I take a color pencil and I shadow lightly on top of the skin tone. So now that I have my skin tone, I take my color pencil and let's say I want to give him some chest hair. And of course, you can add more if you want a hairier dude. Oh, I forgot his nipples. And I would give him a happy trail. You know, body hair is uneven, especially chest hair. So maybe it wants to be a little bit darker in the center. And this is exactly how you would do stubble anywhere else. So let's say he's got a 5 o'clock shadow going on. The thing you don't want to do is create lines. Like, you don't want to do anything curly. You don't want to do anything too zigzaggy. You don't want it to look like, you know, long, sparse hairs. I don't really think that ever really looks attractive. Okay, maybe he has a little bit more hair in his cleft. The only time you want to, you know, really tight curls like this, you know how that has a different look? You want to do this kind of thing if you're doing really short black men's hair, because their hair is actually like really small curls. But for most Caucasian dudes, not so much. So there's your guy, all covered with chest hair and stubble on his head and, you know, 5 o'clock shadow. You guys were too busy having sex for him to shave. Whatever. Let's do a pompadour. So, you know, you're going to have highlights and shadows in hair. But because the hair is so short, and the space you have in which to work is so small that, you know, everything's going to be smaller. Your shadows are going to be smaller and your highlights are going to be smaller. Your hair is going this way, so your highlights are going to sit across. Always rendering in the direction hair is growing. Really feather-light strokes. You know, build me some beautiful hairy texture with color pencil. Nice strokes going in the direction hair is growing, swept up and away. You know, the roots are a little bit dark. This side is a little bit darker than the other side. This is a more subtle look. If you want it a little bit brasser, bolder, you know, I would add a few touches with a pencil. Shiny Pompadour! He's like a blonde Elvis. Wait, did Elvis have a widow's peak? What about a pixie cut? Pixie cuts are super, super short, guys. Their pixie cuts hair is so short that there's really not a lot of room for highlights to even form. So stinky. All right. So yeah, I always push the skin into the hair so that there's some overlap, because that's real life, yo. Skin, face, hair overlapping. Pixie cuts, you know, they're so short. They just kind of stick out and then kind of like get pushed like kind of forward and then maybe up a little bit. And then kind of, usually there's like that center little cowlick, and then, you know, the hair gets pushed down and then towards the front like this. Your marker strokes are going to reflect the direction your hair is going. I really prefer the brush tips for this kind of work. Like, you can do it with the chisel tips, but why make it hard for yourself? Right? So we're constantly flicking these short little flicks forward. Oh, she looks like she has a receding hairline. Let's give her a little bit more. So cute. Oh, you know, I really wish I could pull off short hair. I can't. I really can't. This is not my modesty. I don't have any modesty. Trust me. So cute. And then again, I'm going to take a color pencil that is a shade darker and just kind of add some texture overall. Still continuing to render in the direction hair is growing. And then using this color to do my eyebrows. Right? Oh, that's so cute. When you have a hairstyle like this, it's like a really short bob. You know, you are definitely going to see highlights. So let's pretend our light source is over here. So our highlights are going to sit across the hair. Our highlights are going to be, you know, in a zigzaggy shape. You don't want a highlight bar, you know, because you want to respect the texture of the hair and how it moves around. So our highlight is going to be a zigzag shape. It's not going to sit across, but kind of like wrap around the hair. So there's one highlight. And then I want to create another one over here. And then on this side, it's away from the light. So I wouldn't exactly give it a really strong highlight. And yeah, I'll cut through the highlight a few places. And then sometimes I add a darker marker to emphasize the dark areas, roots, tips. And then, of course, again, I like to add the hair texture in, especially with short hair. I make sure that I do a few like loose strands so that it doesn't look like helmet hair. With the pompadour, I wasn't so focused on giving it loose strands because usually pompadours are like super gelled. You know, you can give a few loose strands if you want, but something like this, no, you want to. Bedhead is sexy, guys. And again, I like to add a few pencil strokes just to make it pop a little bit more. You know, I don't always do that. I definitely do that when I want something to really pop. And then with beards and mustaches, it is similar to a pixie cut in that the hair is not long enough to catch a highlight. You know, not like a really visible highlight. And mostly beard and mustache hair, it's a little bit gnarlier than the hair that's on your head. Partially because that's the way our bodies are built, and partially because we don't use like guys don't use like hair conditioner on their beards. I feel like they should, right? I mean, if they want it to look nice, like so many guys have like beards are huge right now. Oh, what's that term? Lumbersexuals. Lumbersexuals are trendy right now. You know, everyone's got a giant beard and a man bun. Again, I'm going in the direction hair grows, and again, I'm not going to leave highlights. Are you sensing a theme? So yeah, basically, you know, learn the basic concepts and you can just keep applying them over and over again. I made them a little bit straggly. Unless you have black hair, most mustaches and beards tend to be darker than your head hair color. Although I have seen some random guys who with brown hair with like a full-on red beard. I'm like, what is that? Like, our bodies are very interesting. So I like to take a darker color for the beard texture. So yeah, it is all beards, mustaches, and man buns. Oh, don't tell me you want to know how to do a bun. All right. Not in the short hair category, but I will do a man bun for you. Like, it's different from a ballerina bun. Like, nice ballerina buns, you know, they sit on the top of the head. They usually wrap either around like this, or the hairs are going like this. And so, you know, your hair's going in this direction. You have a highlight going across the hair like this. It's nice and neat and beautiful. Or your bun is wrapped in this way. Your highlight is running across the hair in this direction. But, you know, most dudes, they don't put on a ballerina bun, okay? Like, most dudes, they'll grow their hair until like it's about 8 inches long, and they'll put a little ponytail in it and they'll loop it over, and it's just like this teeny tiny little bunlet. Most man buns I've seen, the back of the head is shaved and you'll see some stubble. You know, the top part is grown super long, and then the bun is actually not even a bun. It's just like looped over, and it doesn't really flop around because the hair is not really long enough. Usually kind of dirty, greasy, pulled back, and then it's this little nubbin. It's got some bottom parts sticking out. You know. And then again, your roots are a little bit dark. And then it's following this kind of loop look, and then it just kind of sticks out on the bottom here. And then this back part is just stubble on skin. Ugh, I just broke my own rule. If that ever happens, just make sure you wipe your nub clean. With black men's hair, you know, obviously if their hair is 1/8 of an inch long, it's just straight and all over, and you can treat it like that. Once they grow it out just even a little bit, it starts to curl, right? And so if you're going to be doing that then you want that look of the tiny, super close to the head, tight curl. Make sure your curls stay super tight. You don't want it to look like that. And, you know, the edges have to be super clean. So what did we learn today? That sometimes when your hair is super short, you're not going to have much in the way of highlights. But nonetheless, you must always render in the direction the hair is going. We have learned that mustaches and beards have coarser hair than the hair that grows on the top of our heads. And mustaches and beards typically grow in a little bit darker than the hair on our heads, and you should illustrate as such. When you have shorter hairstyles, your highlights are going to be a little bit smaller, and that man buns are messy and really not for everybody. I mean, the next video in the hair series is going to cover super curly, kinky, braided, super textured, dreaded, cornrowed hair. If you have any questions, drop me a comment below. If you have a specific hairstyle that you would like me to shoot a tutorial on or explain how you would do it, send me an image. Email me an image to teaching@zoehong.com because pictures are worth 1,000 words. I'll see you next time.